Hey everyone, Pat Gillette here from Dragonfly Art Studio. Today I thought we'd play with watercolor and use a resist. And a resist covers up areas. It's like a latex, liquid latex. It's Friskit, and it's made by many different brands. And it covers up areas to keep them white. And then later on we go, after it's dry, and we remove the Friskit, and we have these lovely white areas that we can then paint into or just leave white. So I thought I'd show you a little bit how this works. I have a little sample sheet here. And apparently, first of all, Friskit, I have graphics, Grafix, and if it gets old, it works differently. If it's too cold or too humid, then it stays sticky, and you don't want sticky. I'm hearing Schimke, Schimke, is a great brand, which I have yet to try. But there's all kinds of things about this. It's a great tool if you can master it. But it's like not guaranteed, you know. I've been finding out a lot of things from a lot of people. So anyway, let's just give it a try. We'll see what happens. You never know. So incredibly white liquid Friskit, okay? Now, when you get it, it's going to be really thick, and you need to stir it, not shake it, okay? So you just want to stir it with a skewer, a wooden skewer, or something like that. And you want a separate container of soapy water just for anything Friskit, okay? You want your watercolor water to be pristine, but this, you just kind of gently stir it. You don't want a lot of air bubbles in it, okay? And you can see how it sticks to the skewer. So we just gently stir it. Now, on the directions, it says use a nib. This is a nib, the tip of a pen. You know, you can get all different kinds of pen tips. That's a nib. I tried it. Nothing. Does not work. This is too thick, you know. And when I used it, I would always use a brush, but you know, it's kind of this brush will be dedicated to Friskit from now on forever, because it gets in there and it's just a hard thing to get out and do anything with. Some people use one of these, a blending tool. So I can show you that. I have a little sample page here. It kind of goes on kind of thick. You can get some interesting lines going, okay? And then you just wash that off in the soapy water. Wipe that off. So there's a blending tool. It's kind of thick. Let's not use the nib. Let's have a dedicated brush. Oh, I know. Okay, yeah, some people chisel a stick to a little point, have a little stick on it, you know, and dip that in. And then you just kind of can draw with it and do all kinds of things with it. You can use the side of the stick and get some things happening. The thinner the Friskit is laid on the paper, the better, okay? And so that's another thing. And then this guy just throws away his stick, or you just clean off your stick and use it for another something sometime. But this stuff is really strange stuff. So I'm going to use a dedicated brush and just show you. I have a circle here, and so I dip my brush in, and I just paint it on and try to get a nice, even tone. You don't want it too thick. Now, between every time that you dip it in, you have to put the brush in soapy water, and even then it's starting to stick. See that? It's just starting to stick. And then you can get some more and put another coat on. But even then it's starting to stick to it. With a brush, you can get some very sweeping, you know, organic looking things, stuff happening. And then you would let this dry. So I'm just going to let that brush go in there. And you would let it dry. Now, different brands take longer to dry. Humidity, too hot, too cold, takes longer to dry. The goal here is that it's no longer sticky. I have a little moon here. Let's see. We want some older things no longer sticky. We'll just set this aside for now. So I have a sketch of a landscape. And I'm waiting for it to not be sticky, but who knows, you know? It could be, some people say that some brands of Friskit only last 3 months. Some people have had them for a couple years. Some people say store it upside down. So, but then you don't want to shake it. So it's tricky stuff. So let's just put that aside. So earlier today, I put on a coating of Friskit with a brush and attempted to clean the brush. It's pretty much a Friskit brush from now on. So I have a moon, sky. I put it on the edges of the clouds and on the moon and in through here, and then on some vegetation at the bottom, okay? Because it's a wonderful resist. If you can get a handle on how to use this, it's great stuff. Now, I'm taking a wonderful expressive portraits class from a woman in Ireland, Pauline Agnew. And let me tell you, it's tough. She really pushes you. You need to have some kind of a background in art to get anywhere with this. In this, she introduced us to a UK brand of watercolor. And they're teeny, you know? They're small little tubes, but a little goes a long way. And in this Watercolor Essentials, you get Hansa Yellow Light, Pyrrole Scarlet, New Gamboge, Phthalo Blue, Quincredone Rose, and French Ultramarine. Pretty much with these colors, you can mix and do anything, make anything with it, you know. So it's a great basic set to get and use in whatever you're going to do. And you get a nice little ceramic plate, and you kind of have them set around the edges like this, and then you can do your mixing in the center. And as the mixing, you know, gets filled in, you can just use a paper towel and wipe it off. With watercolors, a little goes a long way, so you just squirt a little bit around the edges. You can keep, you know, you can leave it for days and work it up again. So it's always there for you. So we have that. I bought a really cool watercolor brush. Really nice. Really nice. It's a number 12 silver black velvet watercolor brush from Dick Blick. And it's wonderful. I mean, you know, it can get full, you can use the side of it and get big full tones going. And then it forms this wonderful tip. You can get details. You can also use, you know, any kind of a calligraphy brush. They work well for watercolors. Now, so what I'm kind of seeing here is this English countryside kind of thing. I have a few pictures around. I, you know, get pictures of English countrysides, and the clouds and the skies are so wonderful. But it's also, you know, our full moon time. And when we were driving yesterday, I saw some growth and things on the ground that are just turning a lavender, like a purple color. They were so incredibly wonderful. Now, the other color I've added, I have other watercolors. I've added an indigo just because I really like it a lot. So we have an indigo. And you want to start any kind of a watercolor and work from the lightest colors into the darkest colors. So the lightest colors I would want to have on this would be some of the landscape and some of the sky. I would use the, I would start with, let's see, maybe a little bit of the indigo or the phthalo blue. And I like to mix colors. I'd mix that with a little bit of ultramarine. Now, the more water in your brush, the lighter the tone will be, okay? So you can, I want to do this area. I'm going to give it just a little coat of water here. Now, with that Friskit on it, you'll see what happens. Now I'm going to just carry through some of this wonderfully. You know, I'm going to hold the brush loosely. I'm going to just carry through some of this wonderful color right over the Friskit. And you see, because I've dampened it already, it does all kinds of cool things. And around wherever the Friskit is, it resists. And, you know, I like texture. So, I mean, if texture happens, that's great. You want your Friskit to not be sticky. You certainly don't want your Friskit to get in an expensive watercolor brush, you know, if you can help it. See, now I can just put in a little overtones into that and get all kinds of wonderful things happening. And in through these clouds, get some of the indigo in through here, and water. And you can kind of see the Friskit, but not really, really. You know, it doesn't really stand out as well. Now, as this sky, let's kind of blend that. As it gets lower, I want it to get lighter. So a lot more water. A lot more water coming in. Getting lighter. We have more clouds and more Friskit down in through here. And you see how this brush, you're using the side of the brush, you're holding it kind of lightly. It just really does a wonderful job. Let's see, let's get down to the land. Now, I want it to be really light down towards the land. So I'm going to put color in and just kind of dab it a little bit. Water, color, and just kind of dab it a little bit. And watercolor is the kind of thing you have to kind of plan a little bit of what you want. Now, with the deep parts, I'm going to leave that. I kind of like that. And let's see if there's any more areas that can pick up color. There's some right there. Let's see if there's some in through here. You know, and then that may be it for the sky. We want to keep the watercolor very crisp, very clear. I mean, these colors, these tones are really wonderful. So you want to keep the crispness of it. Wash off my brush really well. And now I want to get to the lighter parts of the landscape. So I'm going to take a little bit of pure yellow. Mix these two like yellows and goldens together. And when I first put it in, like this area in through here, I think I'm going to just kind of give it a little bit of wetness. And I want to carry my brush through. Really get rich color and along the top. And then clean off my brush and just kind of drag that color down. And by dragging it down, it makes it lighter at the bottom. And again, get a little deeper at the top. Okay, now there's another area I want to get the very, very light yellow in, and that's in through here. Even lighter, even brighter, because it's something closer to us. So we'll just get that color in and to dab it towards the bottom to lighten it up just a little bit. Pure, rich, wonderful color. And then with that rich color, I can maybe put a little bit in through here, like things happening. Now that I've used the yellows in there, I want to mix up a green. So I'm going to go into with my yellows and my ultramarine and mix up a green. Let's see what we end up with. You know, when you mix your own colors, you get all kinds of wonderful things happening, and it creates color harmony. So let's try this back here because it seems a little, nice. Okay. Let's bring that through. And water, bringing it down. Nice color. I like that color very much. And let's bring it down. Now this time, I want to add a little bit more blue. Get a little deeper. Maybe a little bit of indigo with the yellow. And just kind of get a little depth going in through here. Like something's going on. Maybe the clouds are casting a shadow. And dab it. And carry that through over here. It's a nice color, like a blue-green. And wherever it's deeper, darker, kind of dab into it. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. And then there's, you know, as it dries, it's a layered color then. You get overlapping tones happening. And then you can get all kinds of things going on. Nice. And you can see where the Friskit is creating a resist and through there. And get the very tips. You know, it's kind of our Litchfield Hills kind of a thing. Distant rolling hills. And let it, you know, kind of do its own thing. Rinse off your brush, kind of scrub your brush through it, see what it does. And make it go a little lower and through here. Okay, and then I want this to be kind of a green, kind of a, maybe a little bit more phthalo blue with the golden creates, ooh, that's nice. It has a little bit more intensity to it. It almost gets to be like an olive. And again, there's the resist going on here. And that's nice. That's a nice deep tone happening through there. I think maybe I'll also use that to create some like bushes, like a line of a hedge or something coming in, kind of following this line. Getting some depth going in. Oh, that's cool. Let's just carry that right on through. And then maybe a little bit of something happening in through here. And wash off my brush and just get something real pale, kind of yellowy pale, kind of sweeping through to fill up this area and make things happen. Same thing with this and through here. Hills and greenery and we'll keep this area lighter. And then get some of those little deep, dark kind of bushes coming in through here. It kind of carries our eye back. We're creating kind of a distance, you know, things farther away, hedges growing, trees, growth coming in through here. Maybe even a little house. And then just some kind of lines leading our eye through, making it interesting. And then some deep things happening right back here. Make it even a little greener. So we don't really know what we're seeing, how far those are from us. Just stuff happening, far distant. Guiding our eye across. Okay. And let's see. Maybe add a few more depthy things to this. Something very dark. Very dark. Catching our eye. let's see. Got the green down here. Okay, now as it dries, let's get a little more depth of stuff in through here. And make things happen. Okay. Just like that. You know, still keeping the colors fresh as much as we can. Now, oh, and they also say don't dry it with a hair dryer because that does weird things to the resist, the latex. Now let's see what we're able to do. Let's get a tissue and really make sure everything's dry. A lot of these things take time because you need to leave it alone so it'll dry for a bit, you know. Doesn't work to try to push it and make it do something it doesn't want to do. I got a little bit of a UFO or something right there. That's okay. Okay, still dry it. Try to dry this section off a bit. Dry, dry, dry. And then I can see, you know, a little bit of right around the moon. Well, we'll just leave it. We'll just see what it's going to look like. Okay, now you want to be working on good heavy watercolor paper. This is 130-pound watercolor paper because when you remove the Friskit, now this is another thing, Friskit. Some Friskits shouldn't be left on real long. If you leave it on 24 hours, come back to it the next day, you could have trouble removing it. And there's all kinds of stories about people trying to remove their Friskit. And this is a rubber cement pickup. And usually it's way more bendable. Mine I have had forever, and it still works. So whatever it is, it's a pickup. They call it a pickup, and it works really well with Friskit, because if you're using a lesser watercolor paper, a lesser paper like, say, I tried it in my sketch pad paper that I use everything for, and it picked up the paint. It picked up the paper, a layer of paper where it was painted. So you don't want to do that. So let's just try picking it up with this pickup. I'm drawing it into the center. I want to draw it away from the painted part. Some people use their finger to rub it off. We'll try that too. But this pickup, it's weird. It's just weird kind of stuff. You know, you can kind of pick it off. But you see the clear edge. the cleaner edge, and it keeps it white. Okay, let's try it again in another section. Let's try this again, pushing it away from the painted area, and we'll see what we get. And then some people take these little balls and use that as a pickup of the stuff itself. It's very strange stuff. But you really want to play around with it for a bit before you do like a great, wonderful painting masterpiece or something. Now you can see where the color came through in places, and then that's okay. Now, once the Friskit is off, I can paint over that. I can even that out. Let's see how the edges of the clouds came out for the white. So I would suggest this pickup tool. See, it's really white, really leaves a nice white. It depends how well you put it on, how crisp the edge would be. It does the job. I love resist. I love anything that's like a resist, so that you could paint over and you get all these kinds of things happening. It keeps the white of the paper showing through. Now this is working pretty well with this heavy watercolor paper. I had trouble with my sketchpad paper. It just picked up the edges, you know, picked up the painted parts. And some of this looks fine, just white, just the way it is, you know. It's like the afternoon clouds or something. Streaming across. And I like the texture that it leaves. Now, for this part, let's try our finger. And it's doing it. But the important thing, the really cool thing, I hope you can see all this, are the nice fine lines from where I dragged it through with a brush. You know, look at this. Look at this texture. I mean, wonderful stuff. You know, I think that part of this, you know, when we talk about play, you want to be surprised. You want to try and explore and experiment and be surprised as you learn what it does, you know, as you learn, you know, how this was made. I like that. I like that very much. There are parts of the clouds I really like. Now, if I wanted to get a purple, you know, I would take some of that red and mix it in with some of the blue, like the ultramarine and probably the brighter red, which is Pyrrole Scarlet. And if I wanted this to have some purplish to it, I could just kind of bring that through. And through here. And see where it goes over the green, you get layers of tones. But this can bring it up, and I can keep the really cool white parts. And mix up your own purple. Just kind of like that. And carry it through. And then you're creating this depth of things closer to us. Let's get it really deep. Deep kind of a purple down in through here. And then you can use like handle of the brush. You can use a tissue in blot areas to get different tones happening. And then with the blues, I would work into it with water and just kind of carry through some of these kinds of things. Clouds have kind of a darker underbottom. And just kind of work it through like that. And then make the top just kind of follow in the cloud motion. Like that. There's clouds within clouds, you know, and just kind of maybe have the edges be the whitest. And put in kind of a middle tone between the clouds and carry it through. Wispy. Shaped clouds, clouds within clouds. Just a little bit at the bottom. And then the thing is to know, you know, like I always say, when do you stop? When is it enough? And then if you like a certain color, you know, you can work into it and really accentuate that, to really play up the clouds like this and through here. Kind of. Add to that tone. Like that. Make the clouds really stand out. That kind of a thing. Get some depth going in there. Just like that. Take us to the moon. And then, of course, you know, once it's all dry, you can do anything you want with acrylic. You can make that moon a little bit rounder. You can add a little bit of tones in through the moon. We can touch it up a little bit and spread the color out a bit. But there we have it, I think. Full moon over a countryside with very pure watercolors and Friskit Resist. So there we go. So have fun with this. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.